I don't know how to describe myself now. I still hold a lot of political thoughts. I do a lot of thinking around politics. Bola, you know, this has been with me from childhood. So, active. Yes, I am active.
You are?
Yes, I am active.
Are you coming back in full swing?
I am not talking about party political activity.
No?
But I am active.
You're active?
Yes, I actually have links with others outside of Ghana, and we discuss politics.
Right.
African politics, the way we are going, where we are going as a continent and as a people and as a country. So I am still active.
You're still active.
And don't forget, I did international relations, so
Certainly.
I'm very much interested.
That's interesting to note. And I want to also know from you, recently there's been a call from your party. I don't know whether you're still a member. Do you still consider yourself a member of the NPP?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you are?
Oh, yes. You know, I think a lot of people don't know or have not followed closely what happened.
Tell us.
When I went to court challenging my indefinite suspension as a chairman, the judge, God rest his soul, Anthony Yeboah, he actually said in court that if the party had actually meant to suspend me indefinitely, as he was saying, as chairman, and I have a definite mandate, then if the suspension went over that line, it would have meant a dismissal. So they would have had to go back to Congress and get a 75% majority saying I should leave. But having said that, he, the judge, completely dealing with something that wasn't placed before him, then said that as the order of the court, he was ordering that I be removed from the party as a member. Even though all the witnesses from the party said, no, he's still a member, he's only suspended as chairman. But the judge said, no. If you persist in saying that he is suspended as a chairman,
that he ceases to be a member.
And then he continues, and it continues beyond his tenure, then you sacked him. So I, the judge, am going to make it easy for everybody. I am removing Afoko as a member of the party. And if he's not a member of a party, he cannot be a chairman of that party. But the day my tenure ends, then my membership is restored. That's what the judge said.
So as it stands now, or maybe after that, after your tenure, you actually became a member.
Yes.
Automatically as a member of the party.
By
so the call for all to join, many that were suspended, to come back now, you don't see yourself to be a part of that?
No, I don't.
Interesting. Thanks for the clarification. So, because many have held, and I believe that you know, that they thought that you were on suspension, so this call meant that you've all gone back. But you are saying here and now that you are a member even before this call.
Yes, I am a member. I mean, it depends on whether you want to see the court order as an a la carte menu. You pick and choose what you want. The court order is a set meal, you eat it. You are removed as a member, and when your tenure ends, you are reinstated as a member. That was the court order.
Right. So, with that being said, were you following closely? Were you taking part in activities as a member of the New Patriotic Party?
No, I wasn't.
Why?
I wasn't because I needed to move on. I really needed to move on.
Have you moved on from the MPP?
I'm not moved on from the MPP, but moved on in terms of all the problems that came with the suspension, the removal from the party, and the reinstating all of that, because it was a torrid time.
Very torrid.
I'm sure you followed it.
Were you bitter? Were you hurt, Chairman Afoko? Be sincere, be candid with us on Starchat.
Yes, I am going to be, because for 9 years I've kept quiet. And at one point, I really believed that I would be helping the party when the government at the time had just come in under Nana Addo. I was called on air and asked, do you think Akufo-Addo is going to be able to meet the promises he made for the 100 days? And I responded by saying, no, he can't. No government can. I mean, if you say you have your whole government in place, don't forget even the presiding member down there at the assembly is part of the government structure. And if all those pieces are not in place, and don't forget, 100 days is only 3 months and 10 days. By the time he forms his government and all that. So I think we should give him some slack and allow him. It was a torrent of attack, virulent attack.
You were attacked?
Yes, from within the MPP, on air. Afoko says Akufo-Addo is going to fail. And I was sitting at home, I never even heard it. Then one of the most revered presidents we've ever had, President Kufuor, he called me and said, where are you, Paul? I said, I'm at home. He said, I'm also at home, come over. And at that time we were neighbors, so I just went over to him. And he said, what have you been saying on air? I said, oh, nothing much. He said, you've just been saying the government will fail? I said, no, I never said that. And I said, luckily, I record my calls. So I pulled out my phone and I played it out to him. He listened and finally said, Paul, if you are saying something that positive and you can be attacked in this manner, because I've been listening to the radio, that's why he said to me, I think you should be careful what you say. And from that day, I said, no more.
No more radio interviews.
No more even talking publicly to the media about party politics.
Till today?
MPP, yeah, till today.
9 years ago.
You are the man who is making me talk. And I've told you why.
Thank you, sir.
At the height of all the problems, you were the only one who gave me a platform.
It's true.
To talk.
You said something about troubles and the 3 things that you should never forget.
The 3 things you never should forget, or 3 persons you should never forget. The first is the one who stood by you when you were in trouble. The second is the one who ran away from you when you were in trouble. And the third one is the one who caused the trouble for you. Never forget those 3 people.
That is deep.
And you'll be okay in life. You'll be okay.
So you were bitter 9 years ago when all that, storm was brewing.
It was anger.
It was anger.
Real anger. Because for me, I had come in to party politics not as a conscious decision. Initially, I went out. You see, I was involved with the party.
Right.
I was finance committee member and all that. So I realized that the party had reached a position where it was branded an Akan party, elitist and Akan. And I thought, no, we have to change this. So I actually went round, contacted 6 Northerners. I can name them all. They are still alive today.
Yes. Who are these people?
Do you really want to know?
Why not? Maybe just 3 names will do.
Well, the last one of them was Ambrose Derry, the former interior minister. In his house. And I went with witnesses.
You brought Ambrose Derry in. He said, look, come in and let's do this.
Come in and be chairman of the party. And he said, no, senior, I won't do that. Because he was my junior in Navasco.
Okay.
When I was in upper 6, he was in lower 6, I think, yes. And I was in lower 6 and he was in form 5, something like that. And he said to me, senior, no. Why don't you do it yourself? You are good at organizing. I've noticed that. Why don't you do it? And I said, no, I'm not into that. I'm ready to finance a Northerner.
To become the chairman?
To become the chairman of the party. Just so as to break this thing about Akan party and get the party moving away from a Bluto party, you know? Because when I went to the Volta region, that's what they told me. They said, a Bluto party. And I had to also tell them that, no, we are not a Bluto party. Think about your origins. The first general secretary of our UP tradition was Modesto Apalu from Keta. You know, we had Reverend Ayeke and all those people working for the party. So I tried. And I spoke to Zakaria, who served as a member of the Council of State, the last council. And he was also my senior in secondary school. I spoke to Boniface Sadiq. I spoke to quite a few of them.
That you are ready to finance a Northerner
to become a chairman. In order to break that thing about a Can-based party, a Can party, elitist party, and that it was something that was open to all of us. In the end, when each and every one of them refused, and the last person I visited being Honorable Ambrose Derry, and he said to me, why don't you do it yourself? I went away and I said, okay, forget it. But then, the late Atuluk, he came to me one day in the office and said, look, bro, this thing is serious. Oh. What you've told us, we have been talking to people out there to see which of them will be interested. So we promote the person. But it all goes on and comes back to tell him to do it himself. So I said, okay, I'll test the waters. That's when I set off. First thing I did was to go to the north, to my father, who has been a long-standing member of the MPP, regional treasurer, council of state, elected. So I went to him and I said, Dad, this is what I want to do. And he said, Paul, are you sure? I said, yes, I want to do it. What are your reasons? And I told him. And he said, okay, I'll think about it. Go and then we'll talk tomorrow. Next day, I go back to my dad and he says, Paul, I think you should do it. It will be difficult, but I think if you are that determined, do it. So for me, I didn't set off initially to be party chairman.
Okay.
I'd served in the finance committee and that was enough for me.
You weren't ready to become the party chairman?
No. I wasn't thinking about that at all.
But how significant was that moment, personally and politically, in 2014 when you became the national chairman of the MPP?
Whew. That was mind-blowing. Because, you know, I went through a grueling campaign. I visited every constituency in Ghana 3 times. And I went the first time when we knew elections were imminent. So the people I spoke to in the constituencies were not definitely going to be executives next time round. And then the second time and the third time. And the sort of things that I had to go through. So it was such a great relief. Can you imagine that you are opposed by the so-called gurus of the party? I'm going to give you a quotation.
Sure.
After I saw my dad, I went over to see President Kufuor, and he just listened to me for a while, and he said, okay. And he changed the topic, and we're discussing something else. After a while, he just threw a question at me. He said, if you can do it, that would be great. By then, I was lost because he was now talking about going to observe the South African elections.
Okay.
So I said to him, sir, what do you mean? He said, you said you want to be chairman? And I said, oh, yes. If you can do it, that would be great. I thanked him. And then he said to me, go talk to Akufo-Addo. He is the presidential candidate. And I said, thank you, sir. So I left. I called Nana at the time, presidential candidate. Well, he wasn't. He had lost the elections and now he was going to contest again. And he said he was out and about. Those were his words. I'll come to the court. And I said, okay. So I went over to see Honorable Kwajom Piani, the chief of staff, Kufuor's chief of staff, and I talked to him. And in fact, Honorable Mpiani, his wife, Faustina, we call her Auntie. She just said to me, Paul, can you do this? I said, why not? She said, you don't take nonsense from people, and you get a lot of it in politics. It is something that I wonder. And I said, Auntie, I will do it for the sake of the party and the country. I will do it. I'll discipline myself. I am able to do that. Then Akufo-Addo called me whilst I was at Mpiani's house and gave me time to come the next day. So I went to his house the next day and I told him what I wanted to do. And now I come to the court. He said, I suggest that you don't do any campaigning now because the party is in court. You remember the election petition?
Yes, correct.
You and I will
22,
not be.
yes.
So wait until the decision is made. In fact, Addison, the lawyer, had preceded me into Nana Addo's study.
Okay.
So he came out and said, the lawyer has just left here and he says that a decision will soon be coming. So please don't do anything until after the decision. And I said, Nana, I'm not campaigning. I'm just informing people like you. And in fact, President Kufuor told me to come and inform you.
You told him that?
Yes. And he said, really? I said, yes. He said, and I'm grateful. I said, that's what he said. Then he said to me, okay, when the time comes and you are going to contest, and this is the quote, direct, I haven't forgotten it. What, since 2014?
Yeah.
I haven't forgotten it.
Right.
You will,
11 years ago.
Yes. And if the party is looking to the north, you will find that I am not your enemy. That was a loaded thing. But I just took it to my stride. I said, yeah. Instead of saying you'll find that I'm not opposing you, I'll be okay and all that. He said, I'm not your enemy. For me, it was nothing. And I went off. And that was it. Now, I've gone through all that, including party gurus who were campaigning actively against me, trying to smear my name. On one occasion, they even called me a homosexual.
Oh, they did?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yes, and I don't want to name names.
You've been through a lot.
And I actually called the person who said that. I called him and I said, I hear you're calling me a homosexual. And so where did you hear that from? I said, I asked you a question. Either you say yes or no. He said, I don't want to engage in that sort of conversation. I said, anyway, I called you to tell you one thing. If I am a homosexual and you describe me as a homosexual, I will not be offended because that is what I am. If I am not a homosexual and you call me a homosexual, then you're only just telling lies because I am not a homosexual. So I'm not offended. I'm just calling you to tell you that this sort of negative politics is not good. So just leave it. Respect yourself. And it's an older man.
Wow.
Older man.
All in the name or because of politics.
Politics. So I told him my truth and cut it and moved on. This is what I went through. So on that day, after all the vote buying in Tamale,